Hey everyone! Today we're going to continue with part 3 of the Shaman Box Oracle review and reading. Alright, where we last left off. The medicine wheel. Medicine in a shamanic sense refers not only to a means of healing, but also to the knowledge and power inherent in every life form. The medicine wheel is a way of gaining access to the essence of existence. The circle and cross of the medicine wheel, also known as the 4 quarters of the world, is a symbol found in many cultures all over the globe. The medicine wheel can enhance physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual understanding. It can also act as a guide in every area of life. Each sector of the wheel is associated with particular elements and aspect of life. And in this book, they actually have a chart of it. Although the positioning of these may vary among the world's many medicine wheel traditions. The East and the West. The rising of the sun in the East signals the birth of a new day, so the East can be regarded as a place of birth. Every new action is like a birth. Every action comes from somewhere, happens, and is over, making room for the next. The sun rises and brings its heat. The sun is fire, so fire can belong in the east of the circle. The west is the direction of the setting sun, bringing at the end of each day the darkness of night. The sun dies just as humans do, so the west can be regarded as a place of death. It is also the body that dies, so the west can also be home to the physical part of our being. The east, therefore, becomes the place of non-physical, spirit, action, and passion. And since human people are able to function in ways that animals cannot, to build and create and act in a spirited way, humans can be located in the east. The sun dies in the west each evening, only to return with new life in the east the next day. It is in the west that the new day makes itself ready to appear, so the west can be seen as a place of waiting and of preparing to act at the right time. It is a place of pregnancy and gestation. Pregnancy is the most female of times, so the west can be the place of the female. The east, therefore, becomes the place of the male. Every person has a mother and a father, but creation also has a male and female side, and we are grandchildren of the sun and the earth. If the east is in the place of maleness, it must also be the home of our grandparent sun, and our grandparent earth must belong to the female west. The earth is the home of the stone people, so they also belong in the west. Sunrise is a time of bright light, so the east is the color yellow. The west is the home of sunset and night, and so its color is black. The north and the south. Observation of the way the world works can help map out the north and the south of the wheel also. In the northern hemisphere, the sun travels towards the west each day by swinging in a curve over the south. South-facing areas that catch the sun are often the places where plants grow best, so plants can be placed in the south. Plants need water to live, just as we all do. Along with fire and earth, it is essential to our world. Because plants are in the south, water can be placed there also. Plants are the living beings upon which others rely. Animals eat plants, and without plants, life would not exist. Plants are mostly green, but the lifeblood of the people and animals who eat them is red, so the south can be either green or red. North-facing slopes are cool, and in winter the cold north winds bring snow. Ice lingers on the north side of the trees and rocks, so the color of the north can be white. Plant people and human people have another relative, the animal people, who, like all of us, need air to breathe. Water, fire, and earth have their place on the wheel, so we can place air, and with it the animal people in the north. The basic medicine wheel therefore comprises the 4 elements, fire, water, earth, and air, and the 4 races of the world, the plant people, the stone people, the animal people, and the human people. And each direction has a color, yellow, red, black, and white. Depths of understanding. See yourself standing at the sacred center of the medicine wheel, and remember the story of the great-grandparents who made the sun and the earth, the beings who go on for all time. Picture these great beings and their sacred marriage in the center of all things, and know that this sacred marriage goes on for all time, renewing the world at each instant. Now, as you observe the world, you can add to the wheel and gain a deeper understanding of the way things are. You can look at people and see that they are also medicine wheels. A person's physical body is in the earthly west, and his or her spirit is in the fiery east. Think about the water and air on the medicine wheel, and consider which part of you is your watery part and which is your airy one. Powerful emotions can make people weep with grief or tremble with fear. Feelings can become frozen like ice and may need to be thawed, so feelings can belong in the place of the south. Thoughts can tumble and roam like the wind, and so they can inhabit the place of the air in the north. Just as the medicine wheel has a center, you too have a center, which is your true identity. We are not our body, which changes, ages, and dies. We are not our thoughts and feelings, because they also change over time. We have an internal part, our soul, which is the deep, true person that sits in the center of our wheel. The soul is not to be confused with the spirit, whose home is in the east. The spirit is the personality, action, and passion. It enables us to give birth to things, but what we generate changes and eventually dies to make room for the next thing to be born. The soul is different. It goes on, unending. And then it has a whole chapter on how to make a medicine wheel, which I will leave that for later. You can go discover that if you want to do that, and how to work with it. All right, the three worlds. Just as you are in the center of a circle with the four directions all around you, you also have the sky above you and the earth beneath you. Humans inhabit a middle area between the upper and lower worlds. This ancient shamanic view of three worlds stacked on top of one another is echoed in many cultures. Our tradition of heaven, earth, and hell in descending layers is one example. Shamanism, however, does not regard heaven as a paradise and the underworld as a place of torment. The three shamanic worlds are regions to which the shaman travels. The three worlds are often said to be connected by a tree, known as the world tree. In Norse mythology, the ash tree, and I cannot pronounce this, Yggdrasil, it's Yggdrasil, if you want to look it up, is the tree that stands at the center of the world, and other worlds can be reached by traveling up and down its trunk. The world tree is also a part of Native American tradition. In the sun dance of Native American tribes, for example, it is the tree in the center of the sacred circle toward which all the dancers move. The Lakota holy man Nicholas Black Elk, made famous in the book Black Elk Speaks by John Nearhart, tells of a vision in which he was, quote, standing on the highest mountain of them all, and around about beneath me was the whole hoop of the world. I saw that the sacred hoop of my people was one of many hoops that made one circle, and in the center grew one mighty flowering tree to shelter all the children of one mother and one father, and I saw that it was holy. Walking the worlds. The main work of the shaman is to travel between the three worlds to seek enlightenment on behalf of his or her people. Shamans travel to find healing for someone, or to find a person, object, or information, or to battle hostile spirits. These can be the spirits of illness, which need to be dealt with just as much as the physical symptoms do. There are cultures in which shamans fight among themselves, and then a shaman may send illness spirits to cause disharmony in people. The people fall ill and seek out other shamans to help them recover. This is certainly not an aspect of all shamanic cultures, but it happens. The shaman may also travel between the three worlds to find a person or object that is lost in the physical world, or to seek information from the spirits, such as the whereabouts of animals that the people need to hunt for their livelihood. The shaman often enters the other worlds by means of a drum and song-induced trance. But in many parts of Siberia, Mongolia, and the Americas, psychoactive plants serve this purpose. Some anthropologists consider that this use of mind-altering plants is an essential aspect of the authentic shamanic tradition. The use of these plants is a sacred tradition, not a trip taken for pleasure. In fact, many of the plants, such as the peyote cactus and the South American vine used to make the drink ayahuasca, have unpleasant side effects, including vomiting and diarrhea. The plants are taken as spiritual aids, and the spirit of the plant is highly respected. The lower world. Some shamans travel only to the lower world, and some travel only to the upper world. The choice depends upon the individual and upon the tradition being followed. A shaman journeying to the lower world may slip down the trunk of the world tree and travel along its roots. In some traditions, the shaman's spirit enters the lower world through a sacred tunnel or other opening. Inside the tunnel, the shaman falls, like Alice, all the way down to the lower world. Brimstone and pits of fire inhabited by demons who torture the souls of the damned are a long way from the underworld of shamanic cultures. To most shamans, the underworld is a landscape of light and form, inhabited by animals and similar in many ways to this world. There are variations that reflect local conditions. Marine peoples, such as the Inuit of the Arctic North America, for example, sometimes perceive the lower world as an other dimensional ocean deep. To the shaman, the lower world is the place of the power animals. Power animals or totem animals are spirits who do not manifest themselves in a physical body. They dwell in this spirit realm, and the shaman visits them to seek information and to enlist them as personal helpers. The spirit animals aid the shamans when they journey and heal, adding their own expertise to the shaman's own. A shaman often has more than one spirit animal helper and can have a very close relationship with the spirit animal in the lower world and with its corresponding animal in this world. The 36 oracle cards included with this book feature animals that shamans of all cultures have called upon for many centuries. Some cultures believe that deep within the lower world is the land of the dead. It is here that part of a person's soul goes after death. Many shamanists see the soul as comprising several distinct parts, each with a different destination after death. Some parts stay on this earth and communicate with the family or tribe. They can be regarded as the ancestral spirit. Another part goes to the land of the dead. Yet another is reincarnated in another body. Sometimes shamans travel in the land of the dead to find souls of the living who were taken there. This is part of the shaman's healing work. They capture or negotiate with the soul they come to find and bring it back to this world. The upper and middle worlds. Shamans who go to the upper world may climb a rainbow into the sky, rise up in a cloud of smoke, or be carried on the back of a giant bird. Sometimes the shaman shapeshifts into an animal, and the shaman's spirit becomes the animal for the duration of the journey. Shape-shifting is a familiar theme in folk tales such as the story of the werewolf, and in shamanic cultures there are many stories of travelers encountering the local shaman in animal form. The upper world of the shaman is sometimes seen as a cloudscape, and other times as a series of levels. In some cultures, the number of heavens is 7, an idea reflected in our expansion of being in 7th heaven. The shaman may also travel to the stars or planets. When dancers who formed part of the Native American shamanic ghost dance movement of the late 19th century went into a trance, they were often said to go to the moon. Sometimes they returned from their trance clutching small pieces of rock, which they swore were given to them by their ancestors who lived on the moon, as proof of their journey there. A shaman generally travels to the upper world to seek information from the powers there, the spirits of the upper world. It is here that the shaman can receive teachings, such as how to perform a particular kind of healing ceremony. Although we live between the shamanic lower and upper worlds, we do not live in the shamanic middle world. This is a parallel spirit world, a shadow version of our own. The shaman travels there to find lost people or things, or to spy on other tribes' activities in time of war. Shamans travel in the middle world when they wish to work with the spirit of the land, or the spirit of a feature of the land, such as a mountain or lake. This is where the shaman goes to make contact with the spirit of other elements of this physical world, such as the spirit of a drum, or a tree, or a building. Whether they are natural or man-made, all things in this world have spirits, so all can be encountered in the middle world. The sacred journey. The journey between the three worlds is the shaman's prime function. Before any ceremony can take place, they prepare themselves for the journey in a ritual manner, often helped by assistants. First one would be making smudge. First, the shaman and all the items used in the ceremony are cleansed with the sweet-smelling smoke of burning herbs. Making smoke or smudge is a widespread practice, and the plants used vary according to the local environment. In northern countries such as Siberia, cedar or juniper is often burned. In North America, the usual choice is sage leaves, either from true sage, salvia, or from sage brush, which is a member of the Artemisia family. A ceremonial costume. Ceremonies may, according to culture and instruction received from the spirits. In some traditions, the shaman dons a special costume or mask. A sacred place. The shaman may also prepare a special place from which to take the journey. This could be an area set apart from others, which is strewn with sacred herbs or has sacred objects suspended around in it. Songs and an altar. Shamans often sing to the spirits using songs they learned from the spirits or from shaman predecessors. Some traditions call for the building of a special altar to create a sacred focus for the ceremony. The soul leaves the body. As the drum beats, the shaman goes into a trance. In this state, the shaman's soul leaves his or her body and travels into the other worlds. Talking with the spirits. During their journey, shamans meet and talk to sacred beings from whom they receive information. The spirits may help the shaman find a lost soul or reveal the location of a desired object. They may provide the instructions for a new ceremony that a shaman must lead, or point them toward a magical item they must take. During the journey, the shaman may lie prone or dance in a trance state and act out all the events of the journey. Once the desired answers are received, the shaman thanks the spirits and returns to his or her body. The drum stops and the ceremony is over. The shaman tells people what has happened, puts away the sacred objects, and becomes a mere person once more. There you go, guys. Part 4 on the way, and we'll continue. Have a good one.